Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today, everybody. It's Friday. I'm Lawrence Presman, the Prez Teddy Covers, joining us. Top of the morning to you, Teddy, my brother.
Top of the morning.
Yeah, baby. Top for me, bottom for you. I went to bed super late last night. Cannot stop watching Suits. Harvey Specter, my new hero. I recommend it highly to everyone. Teddy, big show. Rob Veno, Skee Profits. Just a jam-packed show of information. Rob's going to look at an NBA game, the UCLA Gonzaga game, and a football game. Nothing like talking a little bit of football in the month of April. How you doing, brother? How did your night go?
Good last night. I went 2-0, which it's nice to have a 2-0. The NCAA tournament was not what I would have hoped for myself or my clients. So, and the NBA has been real good. It's been solid for a long time. And I've been treading water a little bit. So I'm glad we got on the right side of a couple of games last night. One, a sweat and a half. We'll talk about it when it comes to bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books.
I'll tell you guys, one thing about me, Rob Veno versus, say, Teddy is I'm a really streaky handicapper, man. I'm capable of putting a 15-3 run down any month, and then I'll just back it right up with a 3-12er. If you guys don't want a roller coaster, if you want just consistent, slow burn, grinded out wins, Teddy's NBA is for you, because Teddy, I've been watching your NBA for 2 years now. I think around 58%, give or take. And what you do, it's just consistent winning. I mean, you have your moments. You'll have your runs in both directions, but the roller coasters are not as high or as low as if you play me.
That's my goal. The goal is consistency. But I get on some nice NBA runs. I'm on a nice NBA run right now. Again, it's short. The long term's about 50. I think I'm 57%. Dating back to the bubble, but I hit 80% over the last week. So I was running pretty good.
Good stuff, man. What happened in sports betting last night?
Well, let's see. If you missed opening day of MLB, we got a little recap right here, right now. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. And it didn't take long, dude. They were tweeting me. This one to me as soon as it happened. McGinnis texted me. I saw it. The Padres' first five. They're up 6-1. And look, they almost blew the game completely open multiple times in the first 4 innings. So you have first five. You're up 6-1 in the fifth. There's one out. There's nobody on. Hit a dinger. No big deal. 6-2. Another out. Another dinger. You're still up 6-4. Third out. Oops. But a bad throw, an error, then a home run to tie. No harm, no foul. You're still going to get out of this with a push? No, it's back-to-back jacks. 4 home runs in the inning, and the error that would have gotten you out of it ends up being the difference. 7-6 lead, and of course, the Padres get hit into a double play in the bottom. They come back to win the game, but not the first 5. Tough beat for San Diego backers. And yesterday, first 5. And then not every blown save is a bad beat. Giants, Mariners. I'm not going to call that. It's not going to be in the bad beat segment because they're going to be blown saves. But when you're up 5-2 in the ninth, and then you get 3 unearned runs, and again, it's the story where the pitcher throws to the wrong base and it ends up leaving first and second, and with 1 out instead of a runner on second with 2 outs. And next thing you know, the game goes into extras. Milwaukee wins. You had Minnesota yesterday. That wasn't any fun. Well, I guess the Giants. Oh, I said the Giants, man. I was talking about the White Sox Angels. Was every blown save not a bad beat? The Giants Mariners was a bad beat. The Giants bullpen, let's see, it was a 6-1 lead in the bottom of the 8th. And it turned into a 7-6 deficit. What a go.
Yeah.
Walk to bring home the winning run in the 10th after San Fran tied it. Top 9. That's 7 walks, 7 runs in 2 1/3 innings for that Giants bullpen. You had San Fran last night. That wasn't any fun. And of course, in the NBA, overtime is where unders go to die. The Hawks and the Spurs, Atlanta had a late meltdown in regulation. They had a late meltdown in overtime. And between the two of them, the 223 ends up flying over the total. Second OT, the Hawks +1 win by 5, but turned an under into an over. Same story with the Magic and the Pelicans. They're at 202 at the end of regulation. The under's 213. After overtime, it's 225. Tough beat. You had that under. Bad bets yesterday. Let's see. Was it the Dodgers -220 against the Rockies? Or was it the Cubs -220 against the Pirates? Or was it the Yankees -190 against the Jays? Or was it the Indians -180 against Detroit? Not a good night or day for MLB chalk. Nobody's in good current form yet. You can't lay $2. Big chalk, a disaster. Nothing but bad bets in MLB yesterday. And one more worth noting, they also bet Texas, Kansas City under 9 down to 8.5. The over cashed in the first inning. Bad for the books. Couple in the NBA worth noting. The Pistons +3 to -1. Second of back-to-backs against the Wizards. No Beal for Washington. Detroit won that game by 29. That wasn't good for the house. And the Magic +10.5 down to +5.5. New Orleans without Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. And they played like it. Orlando took the money. Orlando got the money. That, too, a bad result for the bookmakers. There you have it, Prez. Some bad beats, some bad bets, and some bad for the books. MLB opening day in the books now, but it certainly won't be the last bad beats we're talking about when it comes to baseball.
Nicely done, Teddy. I had a 2-2 night. I thought I had Denver in NBA. I thought, oh, God, here we go. Up by 18 at one point in the game, and the Clips got it nice and tight, and Denver then got it done for me. I also lost my first baseball play of the year. I had the Chicago White Sox up 3-2 in the 8th, but that wasn't a bad beat, nor a bad bet. That just happened. Teddy, I got a quick question for you before we bring Rob Veno in. One of our real loyal viewers, listeners, Paul, wants to know, WagerTalk has an odds page, guys. It's actually really, really excellent odds page. I mean, there's no other place you need to go to get your lines. He wants to know if you or if how can we use it to help our bets? And I thought that was such a great question. And I do have an answer myself, but I wanted to throw it to you to see if, you use that lines page to help your bets, or if you know how to, any advice.
So I have that page up all day, every day, literally.
Yep.
It's sitting on this screen right over here, and it just sits there. And every time I refresh it every once in a while if I need to, but it sits there all day. The way I use it, and a bunch of different ways to use it, but number one is you can differentiate the money that's coming between various types of sports books. Differentiate between what the line's looking like at books that cater to recreational players. You can differentiate what the line looks like at books that cater to professional bettors. And oftentimes there's a difference, and you can gauge what the pro or the Joe side in any game is. You can also get a sense of when the market's about to move. One of the biggest questions we always get asked is, when do I bet this? Now or later? Do I wait or do I bet it now? And if you have the odds screen open, you don't have that question. The markets start to move, you need to bet it right away. The markets aren't moving, and or if it's tilting in the other direction, you hold off and wait. So that's just 2 examples of how I'm going to use that screen every single day. There are many more.
Yeah, and you alluded to a really great point, and I want to go into that really quickly. One of the most effective ways for me, and we're not going to mention the sports books on the odds page, but one of the big things for me is, which sports books are the wise guys betting at? Which sports books are the squares betting at? And if you know the answer to that question, and it's not a hard question to answer, I mean, you could email me and I'll tell you. You just, follow the movements from the sharp books, and then correlate that line to where the square books are, and you will see where the public is and where the smart money is on one particular game. Then just bet the game that the smart money is on. I mean, not blindly, but use that as part of your analysis. Also, as you can see, and we put it up on the screen, it's color coded as well. So you get notifications of the first sports book to move a number. It's going to then take, I mean, within a minute, every sports book will move two, give or take, but it will give you a small window to jump in at another sports book that hasn't moved the number at all. But the biggest thing for me is know where the wise guys are betting and focus on that book's lines and compare it to the other lines. Teddy?
Yeah, I mean, my key point of emphasis is, look, a lot of times recreational bettors say, hey, what do you do? What's your process? And they want to know what I do and the tools that I use. One of the tools that I use every single day is that WagerTalk live odds screen.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I encourage you. That's something I use it every day, all day, every day. I encourage you to do the same.
Yeah, and it shows where all the money is going. Not money, but tickets. How many tickets? For instance, there's a huge difference. There were more tickets placed on the LA Dodgers to win the World Series than any other team, but there was more money placed on the San Diego Padres to win any other team. And that's interesting because where all how many tickets are being written, guys, watch, check it out. I mean, you know, the highest, for instance, in hockey today, 92% of all tickets written on Colorado. Chart that, follow whether those are winning or losing, and you can start sort of feeling your way through that odds page and seeing how you can use it to help you become a winning bettor. Let's bring in Robert Veno. Rob, I mean, real quick, do you have anything to add to this conversation? I'm sure you sit on that odds page all the time.
Yeah, I'm constantly on it. You guys covered it really well. I don't think I have anything to add to that. I think most of us in this industry are looking at basically the same things, and to help explain it to guys who don't quite understand how to use it, I think you guys did a real good job.
Excellent stuff. Brother, let's get straight into it. We're going to talk Houston, Boston. Again, you know, looking at the WagerTalk odds page, you see an opening line, a consensus opening line of 9, yet here we are at minus 11.5, the opening line 9.5, a total of 223.5. Rob, are you following the money or bucking it tonight?
Yeah, let's go in the direction of the total in this game, Prez, because Boston's taking a different direction nowadays, right? They're evolving into an offense team first. I think Brad Stevens, a defensive-minded head coach, has realized he does not have a good defensive team. They're 22nd in the NBA in defensive efficiency. Last 6 games they played, 4 opponents have shot 49% or better. 5 of those opponents have scored between 113 and 132. So Boston's just a different team now. They're playing more offensive first-minded than they are defensive first-minded. You know, the only game in those last 6 where they held the team under 113 points was Oklahoma City, a team that's just running a G League unit out there trying to see what they have. So for Boston, I think it's all offense, not a lot of defense. On the Houston side, pace has really picked up for them. Overall, they're number 5 or number 6, depending upon what pace tempo rating you use to look at in the NBA. So it's a quick pace team under James Silas. Their points scored in their games, especially against the Nets the other night, up and over the total that we're looking at tonight in their last 3 pretty easily. This number to me looks real short at 223. I mean, again, when you're looking at Rockets games that have gone 228, 230, and 236 in the last 3, 2 of those without Christian Wood, doesn't really matter who's at the guard position. I mean, if it's John Wall playing point or if it's Kevin Porter Jr. playing point, they still seem to score. 2 really small teams, guys. Not a lot to defend the rim with here. So to me, I thought this game should hit like 230 plus. When I saw 223.5, I jumped right away. That's where I'm going to go here on the show, over 223.5.
Let me just ask you, because you're saying that Boston's an over team, and yet the Celtics have been cashing under. Each of the last three have gone under the total, including games against up-tempo teams like New Orleans and Dallas, both of which stayed under in their last two contests. Are the Celtics below 500 right now because their defense isn't any good? And do you consider Boston an over team moving forward despite their recent under results?
Can I clarify first that if we run back the tape, I would venture to say I didn't say they're an over team. I said they're an offensive-minded team. And I think it's the combination of the two together here tonight, Teddy. It's their offense and lack of defense combined with Houston's tempo and lack of defense that would force me towards over. And maybe the fact that they played unders recently gets us this 223.5 number. You know, everything's situational. In my mind, it's always matchups. To me, this matchup creates an over. So, hey, believe me, I'm not here to step in and correct you, TC, but I want to clarify what I said. I would classify Boston as a blanket over team, but I do think they're an offensive-minded team, and Brad Stevens has seen that his team just doesn't play defense anymore.
Rob, Veno, Rob, listen, I mean, you want to raise, just interrupt Teddy, correct Teddy, bother Teddy, and you'll be in the good graces of the Prez. Rob,
most importantly is that if I say something wrong or I misinterpret, absolutely correct me over and over again. The goal of this show is to make sure we give out good information.
Okay, so I'm going to correct you now.
Please.
It's not if you say something wrong, it's when.
When.
Okay. Rob, listen, no pressure. Guys, just real quick, please hit that like button. I really greatly appreciated. We need that. Thank you. Rob, no pressure, but Drew Martin came on yesterday, gave out the Toronto Blue Jays at a plus 170, give or take. You're going to look at the UCLA Gonzaga game, and the only way to impress us more than Drew did yesterday was to tell us UCLA will win on the money line, explain why, and then it happens.
Well, I'm not here to impress Drew or impress more than Drew then, because he's got me beat. For me, guys, I can keep this real simple. And the simple analysis for me on this game is nobody all year long has been able to stop Gonzaga from scoring points. Nobody. It doesn't matter what style you play, who your head coach is. This tournament's a good example of it. It's just hard for me to envision UCLA. Michigan wanted to play that half-court game with them, 51-49. They wanted to. But Gonzaga is going to impose their style, their rhythm, their precision on UCLA. They did it to USC from the outset. USC had great visions of their, half-court defense, which ranked number one in the NCAA as far as two-point field goal percentage is concerned, with their height and their length and all of this and all that. And next thing you know, they're chasing 15 points because you can't stop Gonzaga from scoring. The precision this team plays with is incredible at this point in time. So, to me, they're a squad 53.5% field goal percentage for the tourney, 40.4 from the three-point arc, 80% from the free throw line. All four of their games so far in this tourney have gone over this number, 145.5. Every game has hit at least 148. Three of those opponents, guys, didn't shoot 41% from the floor, and these games still got over. Because Gonzaga does let you score a little bit in the end. Oklahoma got the 71. USC got the 71. Wouldn't be surprised if UCLA gets the 71. But Gonzaga is going to be somewhere in the 80s. To me, 145.5 is relatively cheap. I expect it to go up. But at this point in time, I don't see any way you play this game except over. UCLA's got some nice open court players that can score. Juzang, Jaquez, Tiger Campbell. Give me over 145.5. I just don't see anything changing. It hasn't changed all season long for the Bulldogs. It's not going to change now in my mind.
So I thought that USC lost the game to Gonzaga maybe in the first 5 minutes, certainly the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That the stage was a little bit too big for them. And they came out and they rushed shots and they didn't execute defensively. And, it's at times this year USC's played poorly, and that was as poorly as I've seen them play, that opening sequence, the first 8 minutes or so. Does Mick Cronin's team do that? Because Cronin's teams tend to step up as opposed to step down. And if UCLA's stepping up, they're not going to play with pace against Gonzaga. So I think that it may be an issue where side and total are related here. Talk about that for a minute, Rob.
Well, I think Lon Kruger probably had the same idea. Teddy in Oklahoma looked rattled. Lon Kruger's a great coach. And as you mentioned, Andy Enfeld, his team looked rattled. And Mick Cronin obviously is a real good coach. But Virginia, of all people, sixth game of the year, knew that you had to slow down Gonzaga. And they couldn't do it. As good as they are at it, they couldn't do it. So I think it's more a credit to as I keep using the word precision, but when I watch Gonzaga, they move the ball by pass rather than by dribble. They're always in the correct spot. When they get open floor, they're making passes to people that nobody knows are open. You can scramble a team real quick when you're Gonzaga, and I think that's what they'll do to UCLA. I mean, everybody's Mike Tyson line, right? Everybody's got a good game plan until they get punched in the mouth, and then all that goes down the drain. UCLA's not a come-from-behind team, but I think they'll score their share in comeback mode.
Outstanding stuff, Rob. Just such a great analyst. Thanks for joining us. Rob, you got a football show that you do with mid-major Matt Joseph. I think we're airing it today at 5:30 Eastern. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we've been doing the FCS broadcast once a week, Prez, since the outset of the season, going over 3 games in particular. Each and every broadcast, we do a little what have we learned each and every week at the top of the show. This week, we went over the top 10 teams and what the playoffs going to look like. All situations involving FCS. It hasn't been, obviously, it's not the main thing on the board, doesn't have people's main attention. But for those who are following football, we analyze 3 games. We give you the best information we have up to date with the FCS.
Excellent stuff. And speaking of which, you've got a bet for us. Eastern Washington at Cal Davis, -2, 67.5. Where should we go in this game?
I like under, Prez. The game has trended down a little bit from 69 to 67.5. This is a big game for those who don't know. Big Sky Conference, Eastern Washington, UC Davis, Cal Davis. College football guys may recognize the name. Dan Hawkins used to be the head coach at Colorado, now the head coach at UC Davis. But it's a real contrast in styles here, guys. Eastern Washington moves the ball with an air raid offense at high pace, 500 yards per game. UC Davis, more ball control, really good defense. Their scheduling has been pretty similar, with the exception that UC Davis played Weber State, who's a top 5 team, and played them to 18-13. They held that offense to 18 points. I don't think that the high-flying Eastern Washington offense, led by Eric Berrier, the quarterback, is going to have their way with this defense. They won't score points as rapidly as they've scored them throughout the season. And on the other side, UC Davis against the Eastern Washington run defense should be able to do what they like, run the ball, control clock. These are 2 teams that have both put up big numbers in the last couple of weeks. They did it against a coronavirus-ridden team in Cal Poly, which has since folded their season. But to me, guys, 69, way too high here. I see this game being played in the 27-24 vicinity. So give me under 67.5. I agree with the line move.
Awesome. If we were a band, the 3 of us, I think we'd be called 3 old men with hair. Rob Veno, everyone. Rob, what do you got to promote? Oh, by the way, we better be classic rock.
I'll promote NBA, which will be up and available in about 30 minutes. I've got a couple of 4% best bets that I'm going to be releasing today. I have one up for the NCAA Final Four as well, so you can go right now to WagerTalk.com and pick that up. All selections up and available each and every day at WagerTalk.com. And I'm glad for you mentioning the FCS show, Prez. For guys that want to watch that, tune in 5:30 today.
You got it, man. Well, there's a reason Rob Veno starts every Friday show. It's our most watched show, and, well, you're that good. Rob, get out of here. Guys, quick break. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. Skee Profits, the penalty box segment. Couple of laughs along the way. Hit that like button, and we'll see you in 20 seconds.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk Text Club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And we had so much fun talking baseball yesterday. Yes, I'm being facetious. Obviously, the first game of the first big game breakdown in MLB of the year ends up being a blown bullpen game. Let's see if we can avoid that today with the first 5-inning wager. We're going to look at the Giants and the Mariners. And let's take a look at San Fran. First 5 and get them at plus 110. Plus 105 is a widely available number. Kikuchi is one of these guys who the wise guys absolutely love. Love may not be the right word, but the advanced metrics on Kikuchi are really strong. I was reading this whole baseball prospectus article on him. And man, you can find chart after chart showing about how unlucky Kikuchi has been and how the mainstream stats aren't telling the true story and how his strikeout rate was way up last year and his home run rate was way down and opponents' batting average against was way down and et cetera, et cetera. But there are two issues where Kikuchi continues to struggle, and I think make him an area where I'm not comfortable with him as a favorite today with San Fran in bounce-back mode off the blown save last night. First, as soon as he gets into trouble with runners in scoring position, with runners on base, his numbers get ugly. With runners in scoring position last year, he had a 22.41 ERA and a 333 batting average against. Those aren't good numbers. And he's not throwing first pitch strikes. That's been a consistent problem for him in the big leagues. Johnny Cueto is one of these guys. He doesn't move the needle the same way that he does. He's long past his ace days in Cincinnati. But I'll tell you what, Cueto's a guy who you like against unfamiliar with lineups. He has teams that don't see him every time. He's got a funky delivery that continues to wreak havoc. And I even like the fact that Giants, after blowing the lead and blowing the bullpen, the bullpen getting lit up last night, they hit the home run to tie the game before the bullpen blew it again. Dave Koken was on the show yesterday talking about a team with positive chemistry. San Fran may well be that team. They're a dog in the first 5. I'd look for the Giants to take care of business in that role today. So whether you take them first 5 or full game, I want to take the bullpen out of the equation, so I'm looking first 5 in this one. But let's take the Giants, the San Francisco Giants, as short dogs tonight in Seattle. There you have it, Prez. Big game breakdown. Back to you.
Thank you, brother. Guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell. Tell all your friends about us. Greatly appreciated. Skee Profit's joining us. So excited to have this guy on. Skee, how are you, my friend? What's going on in the world of the youth?
You don't have to lie to me, Prez. It's okay.
I'm doing well. What do you think was a lie? Which part?
I'm just joking around. It's okay. Teddy,
I got a man crush on you, Skee. I mean, flat out, bro. Flat out.
He's got a man crush on everybody.
No, not you, Teddy. So, I do not have a man crush on you. So anyway,
you're about to ask something?
Yeah, really quick. I enjoyed your big game breakdown. I didn't really touch baseball last year, but the year before, I was really into it, and I've had really good years in baseball. And this is the only game that I actually looked at today. I said I didn't touch it last year, and I heard you say that the wise guys, like Kikuchi, saying he's progressing. Like, I looked at his numbers. That's kind of what I saw. But the year before, I clearly faded Kikuchi, and the way I did it was betting overs, and I had a lot of success with it. So do you think the Mariners lineup is good enough to put up some runs on their side? You think it can get over? Or you just like the Giants side? I do agree with your side pick, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at first 5 and for this one. So I'm really, in terms of a total standpoint, I think Cueto has a decent chance to shut down Seattle. So I'm not, I wouldn't go balls to the wall with the over in this, but let's put it this way. I wouldn't bet it the other way. And here's my question for you, Skee. All right. Yesterday for MLB was fun. All right. Baseball games all day, all night. It was kind of a little NCAA tournament. Why don't they do that for the entire opening weekend? I mean, they could own this weekend and have 4 days of baseball the way we just had 4 days of basketball last week. But instead, they're like, no, let's just put half a dozen games on Friday. Nobody, once they watch baseball on Thursday, nobody's interest is peaked. It's baffling to me how many bad decisions baseball has made. And, someday they'll pay the price.
I agree. That's actually why I got into baseball in the first place. I started watching maybe in 2014, and it was because I could watch the games all day long, every day. So I think they should do it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I agree. Actually, I think they should put all the games during the day so that the rest of the world can focus on hockey at night. Anyway, we're going to focus on NBA basketball. And Skee, we're going to talk about the Bucks versus Portland right off the bat. -2.5 for Milwaukee. 238.5 is the total. And I got to tell you, man, this Portland team impresses me. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. This should be a great game. And I think anytime Portland plays the big boys, if you will, they're going to give it their all. Where are you going in this one?
I agree with you. Portland has definitely looked good since they're healthy and since they made that move at the trade deadline. So I think that they're kind of a buy going forward as long as they can keep their health. I'm going to look more towards the total in this game. I look at Milwaukee. We know they like to play up tempo. Portland, I feel like their pace has increased lately. And I know both of these teams have been extremely bad defensively. You look at Milwaukee, they're allowing 110 plus 9 of their last 13 games. If you look at Portland, they've scored 120 plus 7 of their last 13. Both are bottom 6 defensive rated teams over their last 5 games. So I think it's up tempo. I know both teams are not good defending the perimeter. Both teams top 10 in 3-point percentage. So I think there's an opportunity for a lot of points. And if you also, I should have had it right here, but if you look at high totals this year, and I'll give my friend Jordan credit for this because he brought it to my attention like 3 weeks ago, but high totals of 235 or more, I believe it's 40 and 17 to the over this year. So I like the over. I like points.
Yeah. Ralph came on and talked about that in his database at the highest totals in the NBA. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that is confirmed by Ralph's D-base. The highest totals have been going over all year. Do you worry at all about the spot for the Blazers, where this might be a no-show game for Portland? They've just had a great road trip. They won every game. They came back, flew home all fat and happy. Does Portland no-show tonight? And if so, does that kill your over? Or if they no-show, is it going to be on the defensive end?
Well, I don't expect them to play defense regardless if they show up or not. So I'll say this: it is what I call. They
played D in Detroit the other day. I mean, that was as good as I've seen the Blazers play defense this year. Again, it's the Pistons. But
exactly,
George Blaha was talking about. He's like, I can't believe the defense the Pistons are playing, or the Blazers are playing.
If only they could play the Pistons every night. But it is a flat spot coming off that road trip. But it's not a long one. It's only 4 games, I believe. So I'm not expecting them to be too flat here. And I mean, if Milwaukee is going to come in and be successful in this game, I think that they do need to play defense, but we haven't seen it as of late. So I think we're all right tonight.
Skee Profits, everyone. And guys, it's a cold, freezing, snowy blizzard in hell when Teddy compliments me. So I'll do it myself. If you've been listening to this show since the beginning, the Prez has told you over and over and over again, it doesn't matter what sport it is. You take the highest totals over, the lowest totals under. You do it blind. You will have a great year every year, all the time. There. Skee Profits, Charlotte, Indiana tonight. -4 for the Pacers. 219 is the total. What are we doing in this game?
I kind of felt a little stronger earlier in the day on this one. Then I backed off, and I've been a little back and forth. But I'll talk it out with you guys. Look at Indiana. They're not a team that I really trust in general right now. They've only covered 1 of their last 5. They haven't covered any of their 8 last home games. So I don't really trust this team. They can play for a quarter, a half, but when it comes to the end of the game, they can't close. So it's very tough for me to trust the Indiana team. Now with Charlotte, they kind of been playing out of their mind, in my opinion, since LaMelo's went down. They've been able to win and cover majority of those games. They've covered 5 out of their last 6, I think. At some point, it's going to be a sell, but I still think that they've been playing better than Indiana. And I look at this trend. You could tell me if it makes sense to you, Teddy, or if it makes sense to you as well, Prez. But I know Teddy loves these kind of trends, right? So away dogs getting 5.5 points or less in conference, and they're on a back-to-back after they lost on the road. Those teams are 52 and 25 against the spread since 2014, 67.5%. That says play the Charlotte Hornets tonight.
Give that parameter one more time, Hakeem, please.
It's going to be road dogs that are on a back-to-back. They're getting 5.5 points or less in a conference game, and they lost their last game. They lost their last game on the road. So road dog back-to-back.
To me,
they lost their last game, 5.5 plus points in conference.
It passes the smell test of does it make sense? Because you have a team off a no-show on the second night of back-to-back that wants to make amends. So does it make sense? It makes some sense. Why is Indiana so bad in this? Yeah, they got clawed. They were never in the game. It was very good for my under bet, the fact they were never in the game, because Brooklyn wasn't going to stop scoring, but Charlotte didn't get there. But what do you make of Indiana's failures? Is this just an underachieving Pacers team? Are they better than their record would indicate? Do we think they're going to come together over the back half of the campaign? Because they're kind of like the Celtics right now in terms of big disappointments. Indy is sub 500 team.
In the past couple of years, I'll say I haven't really been a fan of their bench. I thought that their bench wasn't great. And also, I thought LeVert would be the boost that they needed, but maybe it's TJ Warren. I know that they're missing him. So maybe this team is time to blow it up. Maybe they just don't work together. Whatever it is, I think their bench is weak and they're just not a great unit together. I just don't have a lot of faith.
Skee Profit, everyone. Profit joining us on WagerTalk today. Every Friday, you'll have him here. We'll talk NBA. Skee, last game, Lakers, Kings. Sacramento -4.5, a total of 221.5. I got to believe some of these bottom feeders are just licking their chops, man. They're like, I don't care who's playing. We're going to get a W on the Lakers. Let's go, boys.
That's how it's been lately, for sure. Honestly, there is another game that I like a little better than this one. But the reason I chose this one. I want to talk about the Lakers with Teddy.
Let's go.
A lot of people they're going to like the Sacramento Kings. And I'm going to try my best to make the case for the other side. I do think that the Kings are a buy team. They've been playing well. But I don't want to buy them expecting them to win by margin. Like, as a dog, okay. Expecting them to just maybe squeak out a win, okay. But win by multiple possessions, it's just not something I'm interested in doing. And I have them as 4-7 as a home favorite. This is what backs up the Lakers for me. And we already know they haven't been great. They've consistently played defense. We know that they can do that. They're a better rebounding team than Sacramento lately. But here's the trend for this one. And I've mentioned it plenty of times on this show. It's going to be for road dogs to bounce back after they got embarrassed as a home dog. Those teams are 33-16 against the spread, 67.3%. That says play on the Lakers plus the 4.5 points. What do you think, Teddy?
So I'm going to ask you this. All right. This is my list. I just opened my power ratings. My list of teams that I have power rated lower than the Lakers right now. The Rockets, the Thunder, the Cavs, the T-Wolves, the Pistons, the Wizards, the Magic, and I have the Lakers and Toronto even. That's where your Lakers are right now. All right. Would you agree with that assessment? Are they as bad as those teams?
Right now, they have looked as bad as every one of those teams.
But you want them tonight?
It's more of a play against Sacramento. It's not necessarily a play on the Lakers. It's just I don't think that I trust Sacramento to win by margin. They may do it tonight because everybody's been beating up on the Lakers. But if you bet consistently for Sacramento to win by 5 or more points, I think you're losing money.
Agreed. I'm with you 100% on your take on the Kings. I just don't know if I trust the Lakers to get there. It's a tough one for me. It's not a game I'm going to play, but I wish you and your Lakers all the luck in the world.
Yeah. Well, I trust Skee. Skee, anything to promote?
I cut down the volume because that's where I had success when I was doing lower volume. So I have 2 plays up so far today, and I maybe might add one more, or just maybe those 2 for the day.
Skee Profits, everybody. Okay, guys, it's time. The Prez going into the penalty box for the final time this week.
Does Skee have anything he wants to promote before he goes?
I asked.
I just want everybody to, if you want, you can check out the NBA Tip-Off Show. I'll give out a best bet there. And the other play that I have for tonight, if you want, you can check it out on my page.
And now Prez is ripping me in the comments because he just asked the same question. I know, Lauren.
Yeah,
I just like to see that look of
like you started with me,
incredulity on
dude.
your face. Dude, your eyes look like they were about to explode right there. You know?
Uh-oh. He's
I
bringing
know
out
he's
the
getting
gun,
promoted.
Teddy.
I just figured I'd give him a second
Flex
chance.
Friday. Flex Friday. Skee is like, oh my God, look at that 52-year-old's bicep. Get out of
Let me go to
here.
the
Let's
gym.
get into the penalty box. What, Skee? Okay, go. Just go. Yeah, get to the gym. Yo, Chris and James, if you're watching this show, get rid of shimmy cons. Anyway, it's time for the penalty box segment, my favorite part of the show. It's when I get to talk hockey, and I love talking hockey. A bunch of games today. I got 2 picks for you guys. Teddy's laughing in the background. First one, Calgary and Edmonton. The total is 6 in this game, and man, I don't know how you can play 6 over the total. You know, Teddy, as we get closer to the playoffs, one of the angles that I'm looking at are teams that consider themselves Stanley Cup contenders, like, for instance, the Edmonton Oilers. When they lose a game, I expect them to bounce back the next night, but from a defensive perspective. Calgary thinks it has aspirations as well, highly unlikely, but they're coming off of a loss 5-1 against Winnipeg. I think any of these teams who lose games, the next night we're going to see a much stronger defensive effort. The total of this game is 6. Calgary has gone under the total 4 of their last 5 games. Edmonton couldn't put up any goals last game against Montreal, and they have gone under the total their last 2. I expect this game to be a low-scoring game, even with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the ice. The next game is an over for me, Teddy. Washington and New Jersey. The number is 6. These 2 teams have played each other 6 times this year. 4-2 to the over. And here you have a situation where Washington, they've lost 2 games in a row, and Washington as a team is an offensive team. They're going to define themselves by offense. I expect them to put up 4 or 5 goals tonight. New Jersey as well, scoring much better of late. I think this game easily gets into the 7-8 number. So take the over in the Washington-New Jersey game, take the under in the Flames and Oilers game, and make sure to join us every day on Wager Talk Today. Bugger off with that bloody buzzer. Teddy Covers. What a fun show, dude. Rob Veno, Skee Profit, hanging out with you. Joe Ranieri yapping in my ear was just awesome. Can't wait till tomorrow. Watch the 2 Final 4 games. Take us home, bro.
Sure. And of course, you can check out my show on SiriusXM channel 204. Cover it, 8 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday morning. Rob Veno will be one of my guests tomorrow. And again, thanks to Rob. Thanks to Skee. I'm not going to thank Prez. Let's thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah, bugger off,
part of
Teddy.
Yeah. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye, Prez. Please remember, check out the website, WagerTalk.com or SportsMember.com this weekend. Live lines always available and picks for those who want them. And enjoy the game. Good luck. We'll be back again Monday morning right here with another edition of Wager Talk Today.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.